can't remember exactly when the first strange thing happened. It wasn't a single event that I could point to. It's just the way it all started to feel. Different, like the air had changed, or something in the woods had begun to watch me. That's the thing with being out here, alone in a remote forest ranger station. It doesn't happen all at once. It builds up piece by piece until it's impossible to ignore. It started with the sounds. At first, I thought it was just the forest, doing its usual thing. The wind through the trees, the creaking of the old wooden cabin at night, the occasional rustling of leaves. But then I started noticing the patterns, or lack of them. There was something off about the silence around midnight. It wasn't complete. No, it wasn't complete at all. There would always be a whisper of something out there, but not quite a sound I could pinpoint. A movement that didn't belong. I tried convincing myself it was just the forest. Nature, making its usual noises. But deep down, I knew something was off. I remember one night as I sat at my desk near the window, looking out into the dark expanse of trees, a sudden feeling of being watched hit me like a weight on my chest. I stood up, turned toward the window, and stared out into the darkness, trying to shake the unease gnawing at me. The forest was empty, still. Nothing moved, but the feeling lingered, like there was something just beyond the edge of my vision, waiting. I brushed it off, of course. That's what you do when you work alone out here. You convince yourself you're imagining things, even when you know you're not. The next day I found something strange. A small pile of branches carefully arranged just outside the perimeter of the station. It wasn't like a natural formation at all. They were placed with intention, neatly stacked, in a way that didn't match the chaotic randomness of the forest. I remember standing there, staring at it for a long time, trying to figure out if I'd somehow missed it earlier. It seemed out of place, but I couldn't explain why. It wasn't the first time I'd noticed oddities like that. A few days earlier, I found fresh footprints leading toward the back of the cabin, barefoot prints in the dirt, as if someone had been walking around the station in the dead of night. I told myself it was probably just an animal. Bears, wolves. They don't leave neat little prints like those. But I didn't dare tell anyone, not that I had anyone to tell. I was the only one out here after all. That's the thing. Out here, it's just you and the forest. You're supposed to feel isolated, connected to nature in a way that's peaceful, serene. But the longer I stayed, the more I realized that isolation isn't the peaceful kind. It's the kind where your mind starts playing tricks on you, where your own thoughts become your worst enemy. You start to question every sound, every shadow, every creak of the floorboards beneath your feet. A few weeks passed before the next thing happened. It was late, almost 3 a.m. I had just finished my rounds, checking the fire watch tower, locking up the equipment shed, and making sure everything was secure. The night air was thick with fog, and I could barely make out the shapes of the trees beyond the station. Everything felt too quiet, too still. I was standing by the front door, about to head inside, when I saw it. A figure, just standing at the edge of the tree line, watching me. The fog swirled around them, making it difficult to see clearly. But there they were, tall, thin, almost unnaturally still. I couldn't make out any features, just a silhouette that seemed to melt into the darkness, blending with the fog as if it were part of the forest itself. I froze. My mind raced, trying to rationalize what I was seeing. Maybe it was just a trick of the light. Maybe my eyes were playing games with me. But then, the figure moved. It didn't walk or step forward. It just shifted. One moment it was there, and the next it was gone, disappearing into the trees like it had never been there at all. I immediately ran inside, locking the door behind me. I don't know why I was so scared. I hadn't even seen its face, but the way it moved, like it wasn't bound by the rules of the world I understood, felt wrong. After that night, things started to get worse. I began hearing footsteps around the cabin at night, the sound of leaves crunching outside my window. But every time I looked, there was nothing there. The station's radio started to malfunction, picking up strange static when I wasn't using it. Once I thought I heard voices on the other end, low, unintelligible whispers. But when I called out, there was nothing but silence. And then there were the dreams. They started about a week after that figure in the fog. At first, it was just a vague sense of something following me, watching me as I moved through the woods. Then it became clearer. The same tall figure always standing at the edge of my vision, just out of reach. It never approached me directly, it just watched. Its presence, like a constant weight on my shoulders. I could feel its eyes on me even when I wasn't looking. The dreams were always the same. I'd be walking through the woods and the figure would be just behind me, never getting closer, but never letting me escape. I started to lose track of time. Days blended together. I'd wake up and feel like I had already been awake for hours, but I hadn't. It was like I was trapped in some kind of loop, unable to break free. One afternoon, I decided to take a walk to clear my head. I was walking through the woods when I found something that made my heart stop. A circle of stones, carefully arranged on the ground. It was an odd thing to find out here, especially so far from any hiking trail or campsite. But what disturbed me the most was the feeling it gave me. Standing in the middle of that circle, I felt like I wasn't alone. There was something there, something watching me from just beyond the trees, something that had been there long before I showed up. I took a few steps back, and the feeling of being watched intensified. It was as if the forest itself had shifted, focusing all its attention on me. Every snap of a twig, every rustling leaf seemed amplified, each sound making my heart race. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was waiting for me, watching me. I couldn't explain it, but I knew, deep down, that I wasn't alone. I don't know how much longer I can stay out here. The figure hasn't left. It's always there, just beyond the trees, just out of reach. I don't even know if it's real anymore. Sometimes I think I'm just losing my mind. But then I hear the footsteps, the rustling in the trees, the low whispers on the wind. And I know it's real. Something is watching me. And I don't know how much longer I can keep pretending it isn't.